Hello, everyone. What's going on, brother? Hit the add button, Mr. Mark. I'll add you. Oh, Mark, you're not showing up. Hello, everyone. Nice of y'all to join. Now, if y'all comment, I may see it. I may not. Possibility, I might not. But now, if you got enough followers and you want to jump in the box, jump in the box. We'll have a discussion. I'm all for discussions. How you doing? Let's see.
Jenny DeVille. How are you,
Doing
Pastor?
fine. How you doing?
Good, good. Very good, Pastor Bro. Good, good. Play the battle.
Decline.
Accept, Pastor Bro. You not play the battle,
No,
Pastor Bro? Okay, Pastor.
no, I
Sorry.
don't.
Okay, okay.
Here to have a discussion, not play games. Let's see here. How can I do submissions you speak of for all your expenses? What are you talking about? Talking about donations? What do you mean? Normally I would not be up this time of night, but my schedule's screwed up until I get this load delivered. I still got 3 hours and 45 minutes to go on my clock, so I might as well make the best of it. I figured I put up a few videos that got some stuff started today. I figured somebody would want to come in and join. Let's see if Mark is still up. Let's send it to Mark. Advice of writing a writ? I would have to go to my account and look more into that. I mean, right now I can't do that, or I would. Yeah, you got to get to 1,000 followers to go live. Oh, I've put up about 11 videos today. The last 6 videos were all about these bad citations people put out, and I am so fed up with bad gurus and um, bad citations. People just put out bad information. So I've been at this a long time. Been at it 12 years. Yeah, I actually got. I put videos here on TikTok. I've actually. Um. Oh yeah, that's what. That's my plan. Is the end of the year. Um. I've got TikTok. I've got um, Rumble channel, YouTube, website, Telegram. Yeah, Marty wanted me to come on her channel on Telegram. I need to reach out to her. Now, some of y'all got enough to join. If y'all want to join, just hit the little person there, the guest button. You have a good night, James. And James, he's in my Telegram group. I blew his mind the other day and corrected him on a lot of information. He's still blown away by it. Yeah, normally I wouldn't be up this late at night, but I'm on my way to Florida, so I got to do what I got to do. I'll have to contact her and see if I can get that YouTube channel because a lot of people are out there teaching things, but they're not always teaching the right things. I mean, you got people still running around um, trying to do trying to do stuff with Chris Hauser or Brad Tipton, teaching that information like it's true and it's not. I used to fall into that trap with the GMEI utility and the going down the fidelity route, and I'm like, man, come on, y'all. This is not accurate. You are not going to find the QSIPs that way. Oh, I did. I've spoke about a UCC one, not in great detail, as in if you're talking about the secured party process, that side of the secured party process is absolutely inaccurate. I've been there, done that, bought a T-shirt because I thought it was right at the time, but it was the trust law side of it that taught me the most, and that I absolutely like. That side of it. But when it comes to putting a UCC one on the name, I've only known of one person that did it right, and he didn't even do the secured party process, and it shut. And I have those documents. I can go through and actually show people how to do it right, but it requires some legwork on your part because a lot of people are making the wrong presumptions. Let's see. You got enough followers, little shorty? Nope, you sure don't. See, I don't even like the word discharge, to be honest. What you're really trying to do is set off. Yeah, offset, set off. See, Major, I wish you had enough followers. I think me and you would get along good. I think I don't get into the surname because why? What is that blue card you carry in your pocket? It's a trust. It's the name of a trust. Does Microsoft Incorporated have a last name? No. It's just called Microsoft Incorporated. When you create a trust, does it have a last name? No. You created an entity We're thinking it's first, middle, last. It's not first, middle, last. It's the name of a trust. And it's not even your name because you don't even have first-hand knowledge. The things that I have discovered in the past couple years and the realizations I've come to actually have made things make a lot more sense. And it's really why I say the government's actually following the Constitution. It's the it's the people's lack of understanding of how it works that's the issue. What's up there, Applied? I know you got enough followers. Jump in the box, brother. Come on, sci-fi. Come on in. The water's fine. Well, no injured party. Yeah, that's somewhat true, but on the admiralty jurisdiction side, that's not always the case. Um, See, most people they call admiralty jurisdiction and maritime law, and they automatically say, "Oh, it's law of the sea." No, it's not. Okay, you go ahead, finish, and then I'll be here. Um, it's not law of the sea. It's law of commerce. I put up a video a while back. You can scroll through, and I think I put a label on it called Guru Guano or something. It's right around in there. I also put it on YouTube where you got three jurisdictions under the Constitution. You've got admiralty jurisdiction, equity jurisdiction, and common law. Well, think of the jurisdiction as the tip of the pyramid. That tells the court what their power is. Okay. Now, coming off that tip, you've got maritime law. But if you read the Constitution, you got another phrase called admiralty law. Okay. And I found a source in Westlaw that said that admiralty jurisdiction and maritime law is a subset of the law of nations. We call that international law under the law of commerce. Okay. Now, so what have you got? You got admiralty law, which is contracts and commerce over the land, and you have contracts and commerce over the sea, which is maritime law. It's not that they brought the sea onto the land and none of that BS. And the gold French flag doesn't mean law of the sea. It's under the president's war powers. I've proven that. I have the 1925 Attorney General opinion letter that explains that. And the courts fall under, well, the judges fall under canon law. If you look up the judicial canons, the Article 1 says that the judge has to appear non-biased. But most people are running around out there saying, we want our common law. You don't want common law. You do not want common law. Because you know why? Common law is fluid. People don't know what they're asking for when they talk about the common law. What's common in California is not common in Texas. Well, they actually are, for the most part, unbiased. It's you that don't know better. Okay, I've trust me, I've been in court cases. I know. I actually had a judge meet me at my truck, shake my hand. We had a great conversation. In court, he didn't agree with some of my arguments, but outside of court, he said, "You was right on everything you said." That told me that he is even trapped in a system. And if you don't understand the system, you're not going to recognize that. No, I don't go by correct your status. How can you correct something when you don't even know what it is? You're putting up, yeah, what's to correct? I mean, he who makes the claim has the burden of proof, right? You're going around trying to make a bunch of claims. I don't see no evidence that I'm under the Pope. Just like I did a FOIA request with the the United States Citizenship and Immigration Office, and I asked them. I said, I want some evidence showing I'm a U.S. citizen. What's up, Vegas? And they come back and said, we don't have any. That told me right there it's us that make the presumption. But if they have to turn around and prove you are a U.S. citizen, can they? No, they can't. Because why? They don't have firsthand knowledge of you doing anything. Everything the government says comes from a standpoint of hearsay. Unless the officer, the reason they can do a warrantless arrest, use that as an example, is because they have firsthand knowledge. They witnessed a crime. Now the question is it a crime under what jurisdiction? Um, no. Define which United States. If you look up the governmental styles manual, de facto, de jure, they're both legitimate governments. Okay. What's up, Dallas? Jump in the box. And I know you got enough followers. Jump in the box. Um, the you have three different United States, not only by operation of law, but in the codes. No, there's more than one United States. You have the 50 contiguous states. I showed you the court case there, brother. They even said it in that ruling. There's three. You have the 50 states united. Then you have under the Constitution the federal territory, D.C., its insular possessions and territories. And then you have the U.S., the corporation, under 28 U.S.C. 3002, paragraph 15A. Okay. I don't have the court case in front of me. I put up a video about it. You haven't watched all 5 parts from this morning, or you would have seen it because I discussed all three right there. It even lists it in the opposite order. It talks about the corporation, then the DC, then the states of the union. 28 USC 3002 paragraph 15A does. That's Title 28, which is the Judiciary Act. Chapter 176 is the Fair Debt Collection Procedures Act. And in 3001 tells you section 3001 and 3003 tell you the scope and application of it. And I even showed in the West Keys that the courts have said, yes, the United States can create a corporation. So you can keep denying it all day long, but you ain't going to win that argument. Even the District of Columbia Organic Act was passed by Congress to create what? They even call it a municipal corporation. And if you go into the statutes at large on gov.info, govinfo.gov, and look up the United States statutes at large, I think it's in the 1952 or 53. When you expand it, you see the section that's called reorganization. Why is there a reorganization? Because in 1933, the United States was placed in Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And it even says, under the Reorganization Act, it says that they reorganized the government of the District of Columbia. No, I'm not saying you were a U.S. citizen. Major, look, if I write a trust and I name it Major Flavor Adrian, and I appoint trustees and I appoint beneficiaries, is that trust you? No, it's a piece of paper. It's a trust. It'll never be you. You're a man or woman created in the image of the Creator. How can that trust be you? But you run around here claiming it's you. Yeah, it's just a document. But that doesn't negate the fact that Blue Card is a trust. And the trustees are listed on the Social Security Administration website. It didn't make all of the United States a corporation LDC. That's where people are misapplying things. Why I said 3 United States. Depending on what it's doing and how it's acting when it's doing and acting will depend on which one it is at the time. It's not always acting as a corporation. Well, for one, you're making the presumption that's your BC. It's not yours. And are there funds and securities in that account? Absolutely. I have a letter that I have shown numerous times straight from the trust, straight from the Office of the Inspector General. And I got that same letter from my congressman showing that that account, one, has funds and securities in it, and it is their property, and it is not attached to you. But you run around here claiming that's your name with no firsthand knowledge. And last year, April of 20, let's see, not April, that was the FOIA request. March of 2022, March 16th to be exact. Um, I had a traffic ticket that got sealed and dismissed because of the very fact I could prove that name is property of the United States. It's not mine. No, you are not the beneficiary. You're not even the sole owner. If you look online, signatories to the trustee reports, they tell you who the trustees are. And there is a logical outworking of those trustees. And it's what I use to show people. And it's also not clearly laid out that they're the beneficiary, but the rules and laws are in place that the third trustee in the list is the Department of Health and Human Services. That's the third trustee. So the state is the beneficiary of the trust. Because who gets the Title II, Title IV, Title V funds? The state. You don't. An authorized representative and registered agent, I've proven this too to my class. Because my class, I'm almost done teaching the law of agency. I proved to them in the law of agency class, authorized representative and law of agency are synonymous. You can if you do it right. Well, it's not about gaining control. One, you got to get this thing of ownership out of your head. Go back to the congressional record, March 9th, 1933. Okay. The federal government clearly lays out in the congressional record that they mortgaged all the homes and all the property of the people of the nation. What is property? There's a reason why they put that separation in there. The home is not property. The tangible item is not property. Under the law, it's the rights and interest in the tangible item that is your property. Okay, now what's the role of government? To secure your rights and interests. Okay, how did they do it? They put it in a trust. But you're running around trespassing on the rights of the trustee, who are the legal owner, saying it's yours, making all these bad decisions. Yes, you can reap the fruits. In the Federal Emergency Relief Act, Eon put up a video. Me and him was discussing this, so he put up a video about it. In the Federal Emergency Relief Act of May 12th, 1933, they even said that the accounts were created for the necessities of life. But see, since you are the registered agent, you're not acting like the agent. And if you know enough about the law of agency, you know the agent is never liable for the principal unless the agent doesn't do their fiduciary duty. Guess what everybody's not doing? What a coincidence. You you was recommended. Well, you gotta get you to 1,000 so that way you can go live with me. I mean, Vegas slot girl, you can go live. You got enough followers. Well, it's not called a business agent. It's just an agent, and it's the law of agency. If you're in my Telegram group, or if you go to my bio, in my link tree, you can. There's a book called Law of Agency. There, it's a short book. It's going to be your basic principles. If you want a more detailed thing, then join my membership platform, and you'll get all the classes. Uh, Secured party slash creditor. The creditor is always the secured party. Go to my link tree. If you want any of my platforms, go to my bio on here. Click my link tree. That will actually get you to my website, YouTube, Rumble, Telegram, all of that. Um, the the secured party process is half right. I still, even though I think USFL is wrong on certain presumptions, but he's been at it so long he don't even see it. Um, no way I'm live. Why is that? Yeah, I'm live. Um, when it comes to the name, the things in the secured party process is where it's wrong. That name is their property. Well, if does uh executor that requires an appointment to get an executorship. See, a trustee, um, guardian, conservator, executor, power of attorney. They're all agency positions. But the problem is those positions require an appointment because there is an appointment and then an acceptance of office. Okay? How are you going to do the acceptance if the trustees of the trust never appoint you? Now, on your employer, I actually did a class that's up on my website on the right forms to fill out. And I even show everybody exactly who, what, when, where, why, and how you fill those forms out. And I give it an example of how to write everything out. But that law of agency book's in my bio. It's on my link tree. If you want to read it, please do. It's free. But like I said, if you want a more detailed class, you join as a member. You will not be disappointed. It's a Century membership. Point you in the direction. Go to my link tree. Go to my website. If you can't find the store, reach out to me. Contact me. I'll help you. Get in my Telegram group. There's a lot of free information in there because I don't expect everybody to pay. Not everybody can. Okay, and I don't charge astronomical prices. No, you're not the benefactor. You're the beneficial owner. But a beneficial owner is not a beneficiary. Beneficial ownership applies to beneficiary. Go into Black's 11 and Black's Dictionary 11th edition, look up owner. Scroll down, read beneficial owner. You will find out don't apply to the beneficiary. It's the one holding and using another's property. You're holding their property. Now, you also are the name holder. Because as the registered agent, you also have the authority as a general agent, and the general agent has the ability to go out and do business in the name of the trust. But guess what? The agent can act as a gratuitous agent and say, "Oh, I'm liable for everything. Don't worry about it. I take care of it." That's where our problem is. Oh, your coat of arms is similar. I've traced my family line all the way back to King Duncan the First of Scotland. I'm heading to Winter Haven. I got to go to Wally World Friday evening to their DC. See, learning what that name is has changed how I do business with them. Um, One, if you want to find your family line, go create you an account on ancestry.com. You will be absolutely surprised how much information other family members in your family line has put on there sometimes. But my grandmother, who could teach the CIA a few things, people laugh at me when I say that, but y'all just don't get it. Her filing records on the family is freaking mind blowing. But that's neither here nor there. Um, she's actually went county by county, different counties, and traveled to Scotland and traced our family line. That's why. So I took her information, confirmed it from other sources, and made sure it was accurate. And if you get so far in ancestry.com, trust me, just Google it online. You will probably find historical records too. Well, I'll tell you what, the Bigs 6, I drive a truck. I make time. Plus, in my Telegram group, I have some of the best other teachers, like Boris is in there, my buddy Popeye. Popeye has a YouTube channel called Street Legal Thinking. Um, I've got a bunch. Um, I wouldn't say a foreign national. I mean, your nationality is actually your state of birth. Um, if you look up the governmental styles manual, it will tell you that in the governmental styles manual what your nationality is. Um, you know, do you see? Thanks for that compliment, but guess what? Even attorneys have told me that. I ain't on the fog line. I'm on the vibrator strip. I pick on my wife and tell her she hits it on purpose. And you got to realize sometimes the traffic shift puts you on that line. Like right now, I'm in a construction zone. I don't call it construction, honestly. I call it destruction. Because they are tearing stuff up. Yeah, if you apply to the chat group, okay, you can't type, well, that'll be fixed later. Because one, you have to apply to the chat group. Um, I've got two bots in my chat group that keeps the trash out, like other bots and scammers. Um, so when Rose puts up a notice that says, click here to show you're human, you click that, then you gotta, if you get the other bot, you gotta answer the math problem. If not, you'll get booted. But Don't worry. While I'm in here, I can't go do anything in there. Um, and my admins, most of them are probably in bed right now. So just you've applied. I'll go in and make sure you're accepted. And yes, I do lives in there too. Most all the lives I've done that's ever been recorded are on my YouTube channel right now. I don't consider myself a foreign national. I mean, technically, as a believer in God and Christ, technically we're all foreign. Because a citizen in the legal definition means one who owes allegiance to a respective government. Well, my Bible teaches me I can only be a citizen of the kingdom of heaven because why? My allegiance is to my creator. I can't serve two masters. How can I be a citizen of a state and a citizen of the United States and a citizen of the kingdom of heaven? There's going to be a conflict somewhere. You're either going to love one and hate the other or vice versa. I mean, I teach biblical principles and how the law relates to it. It blows people's mind when I do that, and God God forbid I go to preaching. I do that every so often because I am a pastor. I've actually started my own church. Resident alien? No, I don't even go that route. Resident aliens are taxpayers. But guess what else is a taxpayer? A trust. Uh, yeah, I don't know that it's separate. I think it's all one word, but it might be the same way. That's my personal contact. But in my link tree, you will find the name of the church, the pros. It's Boslikos Nomos. Ugh. See, when you start understanding who that entity is, then you find out who the taxpayer is. My buddy Mark, I wish he could get. I wish he was on here tonight. He would blow your mind. He's a very smart brother. He's done some amazing stuff. And those are the type of people I run with, are the people that are successful. Well, why did you ever presume you were a taxpayer? The number one reason why is you presumed you were that name. Henry Boland's 1912 says what? The Sestakay Trust is the taxpayer. And yes, I've confirmed that citation. It does say that. Well, that means what? I'm not the trust. The trust is their property. That means it's their obligation, not mine. Oh, LDC, if you had enough followers to get on, we could talk. It would surprise you the things that me and my dad do. My dad runs around with private plates and never gets pulled over. My dad files taxes. He put the company in a trust. Guess what happens? The IRS says thank you, and he don't pay a dime. Yes. Now they did not get rid of gold, Craig. That is true. They did redefine what gold was. They did not get rid of gold. They made the securities, otherwise called the government obligations, the gold. See, people don't understand what money is. They say, oh, they took all the money. No, they didn't. If people really, truly understood what money was, it would blow their mind. I mean, think about it. At one time in history, people used seashells for money. Who decided they were valuable? Wouldn't that be the parties to the contract? Send me a pic of what? Is it? Is it true money? Really? I mean, according to the Bible, gold is pavement. Yeah, you could send it to me out there. I mean, on Telegram. Yeah, you could. Um, see, the people's understanding of what money is the problem. My buddy Crazy Mark, if he was in here, he could tell you the story. He settled a traffic ticket with grains of rice. I mean, you got seashells were money at one time. Rice in a court case was used as money for a traffic ticket. Um, you can endorse it legally, yes, but the problem is most people don't know how to properly endorse things, and I've got their documents in my possession that tell people exactly how to endorse things. Well, it's not just because it's a commodity. Money is nothing but what two parties agree on. If I write you a contract that's worth $1,000, you may call it a promissory note. Guess what? It's money. Because why? We were the parties to the contract, not anyone else. We decided it was valuable. That's what money is. What do the parties agree to? This is the whole deep, dark secret that the majority of the people out there don't get. That's why it goes into in the congressional record, March 9th, 1933. It talks about the New Deal, the new money. It says what? Notes, bills of exchange, um, bankers' acceptances, etc., etc. And then go read 18 USC 8. This is all money. The real problem is the people don't understand true private banking, and they know about these groups floating around. Most of the people will never do it. They won't perfect the process. Most of the gurus out there that are teaching it ain't even teaching it right, and they know that you have no intention of ever taking them to court to fight for your rights. I mean, you only have the rights you're willing to fight for. So how do you fight for them if you don't even know what they are and how to do it? It's all bartering. You carry a Federal Reserve note in your pocket. So what? What is that? It's a promissory note. You go to the mortgage table, you issue a promissory note. What's the difference between those two promissory notes other than the length? Nothing. In the law, they are absolutely identical. I don't know anything about Jeff Fort, so I couldn't tell you. You'd have to tell me something more on that, so I don't know who that is. Read the government's documents, they tell you everything. What right do you have to access the trust? It's not yours. That's all everybody cares about. You know, the Bible says, Thou shalt not covet. So the problem is the people don't even recognize they're acting like heathens. And guess what the government does? The government says, okay, we will legislate sin. And then the people get mad when the government does their job according to the Bible, when the Bible said what? That God instituted government. The one thing he did do was give the man free will to decide which type of government they wanted. So the government is doing its job just like in the book of Job when the devil was doing his job. The only thing that said is what? You just can't kill him. So everybody runs around here thinking they have some right to someone else's property. Bricks, I don't know. I don't know that it's going to have much success. I mean, it might. And a lot of people are putting their hope in that, in man's works. I don't put my hope in man's works. I put my hope in God's works. But can you do things with the trust as the general agent? Oh, absolutely. I believe you can. I've actually seen some people have success. I've had success over that trust too. All I had to do was see it act in a court case and I had success. Well, the problem is playing. Why do you keep volunteering to be the taxpayer? It's not hard. Your mind makes it difficult because you keep saying the wrong things and doing the wrong things. Nope. I don't do state national and American state national. Most of those people are idiots. They tell just enough truth to sound good, and most of them believe what they're saying is the gospel, no matter how much I show them it's not. But some people will believe the lies. And in the book of Corinthians, it says, hey, he that wishes to be ignorant, let him. I can only I can only help those that have ears to hear and eyes to see. If Jesus, who is the God of the universe, come down in the form of a man, if he cannot save the world, guess what? I can't either. Can you get out of paying taxes? I would say yeah. You just got to file the right paperwork. It's a paperwork game. Robert Kiyosaki said it best. He said, you know, the difference between rich people and poor people is this: the rich people know how to do paperwork. You've been watching my videos all day. Wait till you find my YouTube channel. What about the W-4? I don't like the W-4 process. I think they're idiots, and I've told them that. I'm in their groups. Um, the theory behind the W-4 process, I agree with. The process itself, I think, is wrong. And Smoking Baby is one of the ones that started that process, which I know him personally. And guess what? I asked him a simple question one day. I said, "What is money? Money is credit, right?" I said, "Yeah, the W-4 sandwich. I wouldn't recommend that to anybody." I said, "Smoking Baby, let me ask you a question." I said, "Money is credit," and I said, "My dad's self-employed, and he works for the big box stores." And the big box stores at the end of the year give him a 1099. And what does that 1099 represent? The 1099 represents that Home Depot issued this much credit to this company. Okay. I said, why are we not doing the same thing? Selective service, if you put the name and the social on any document, doesn't that make it the property of the trust? Yes, it does. Microsoft Incorporated goes out to buy a house. What do they put on the document? Microsoft Incorporated and their EIN. Hmm. If you know what you're doing, it can be done. The problem is most people don't know what the hell they're doing. And they definitely don't know what the hell they're teaching. If y'all only had a clue of the amount of information I have access to on Westlaw, it'd blow your mind. Cakewalk, it depends. Because when you start understanding the principles behind it, things start becoming very clear. The principles never change. You've heard the old saying, principles of law. Um, what was it again? I see. The principles of law are few and never changing. Methods are many and are fluid. What do we call methods today? We call those processes. And these gurus always out there saying, "Do my process, do my process." There's only there's not many people out there teaching principles. That's all I concentrate on is principles. Because if I teach the principles, you can get to the point where you can develop your own process. That's part of becoming competent and becoming self governing. Oh, it's my honor. It's actually my ministry. God gave me a calling, and I am ordained. God gave me a calling. And I've prayed all the time, God, help me learn the stuff I learn and help me remember because doing my job, it's not so easy. And I've went down and done things. I've done different things. Welcome to the group, Melvin. If you get into the chat group, I'm gonna have to start putting a link on the main page so people can get into the chat group every so often. Because more people join the main page and never get into the discussion group. Um, Not necessarily. You are using their property, that trust. Um, you Anything you put that name and that social to, that makes it their property. And the general agent can shoot. I showed this to people in the agency class, where it plainly lays out that yes, the agent can issue securities. Well, what evidence are you still a citizen? A citizen of what? And here's actually a better question. What evidence do you have that you were ever a U.S. citizen? See, a lot of times we claim things we don't understand. That's the whole thing of the correcting the status. How can you correct something that you know nothing about? Um, you filed some papers, I presume, and did a quote unquote status correction, or am I wrong, Sean? Because if you did, because you heard people talk about status correction, I've heard that for years. Guess what? You didn't correct squat. You never were a U.S. citizen. How can you be something you never applied for? That declaration holds no power. You know why it holds no power? You started with the fundamental presumption we all started with. The name on that card was my name. No, it's not your name. That trust is and always will be a U.S. citizen. The 14th Amendment is clear. The courts have stated over and over that all corporations, all businesses, and all trusts are what? U.S. citizens have an equal protection under the law. They're legal persons. You run around thinking that's you and that's your problem. You never were that. You've been free all these decades of your life. You just didn't know it. You've heard me say this all day. But the status correction is an illegitimate process. What are you actually correcting? How can you correct something when you don't even know what the record shows? See, everything about the status correction process is based on you presuming what something is instead of having factual information. Does a trust have a last name or is it a business name? Is the trust named John Henry Doe? Microsoft Incorporated doesn't have a last name, does it? No, the business is called Microsoft Incorporated. So, where is this? Why do you presume that thing has a last name? Just because you see John Henry Doe on the card, did you don't have any firsthand knowledge that's your name? Oh, mom gave it to me. Oh, really? That's hearsay. Do you operate in private? I don't know you. You might. I'm not going to discredit that. But the point I'm getting at, the status correction stuff is not worth a darn. You crashing out? Why are you crashing out? You getting tired, Biggs? Yeah, I understand. Hey, I'm gonna try to start doing lives once a week on here because I've got my members that I do things with every Saturday. We're finishing up the law of agency class next month, and in October we're starting the law of contracts for the membership on the Century members. Um, the, it don't do anything. The authentication of the birth certificate does absolutely nothing because people think they don't understand what authentication means. That's right. Most people were never U.S. citizens. They were citizens of the several states. I put up videos today proving that. U.S. versus Anthony, 1873. Slaughterhouse cases, 1873. Jones v. Timmer, 1993. They clearly tell you, no, it's not a fraud. They clearly tell you there's two different citizenships. And even in the governmental styles manual, they tell you what your nationality is. Authenticating is not a fraud. But what are you authenticating? You're not authenticating the birth certificate. You're authenticating the office of the person that signed it. But does it matter? No. Here's the true meaning of the authentication process. State v. Gray out of North Carolina says, yeah, state nationals, they make me laugh too because they're a bunch of morons. Um, that's why the David Straight people and the Anna Von Reitz people, they don't like me because I call them out on their BS. But let's talk about it. The Let's see. By the way, P. Cruz, let's look at you. Man, you're not quite to 1,000. We got to get you to 1,000. Me and you could probably talk. Um, yeah, the videos are on. I got videos on here, YouTube, Rumble, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, David Straight, he's a joke. I've known about him for over a decade. But now, back to the authentication. State v. Gray out of North Carolina said that the certificate of birth, the certificate of live birth or the birth certificate is double hearsay. Okay. Why is it double hearsay? In layman's term, it's prima facie evidence of a record, and it's the assertion of the deputy registrar of what's in the record. Okay, now here's the problem. You don't know what's in the record. Well, if you get into my Telegram group, we can definitely talk because I do lives in there at least once a week, sometimes more, and sometimes I record them, sometimes I don't. It depends on the subject. But now, so when you're authenticating it, you're asking the court, this is an evidentiary rule. The evidentiary rule is basically you're asking the court to accept it as if it is the record. Oh, you are in my Telegram. Well, you have to shoot me a message. We'll have to talk. Um, and one thing the people in my group will tell you is I'm easily accessible. I do consultations, and they're not expensive. Um, also, I'm looking at starting up Bozlikos Nomos TV, which that'll be announced in the future too. Oh, you will be now in my Telegram group. Get familiar with the files section. If you're in the discussion group, not the main page, I will occasionally make posts on the main page, but the discussion group is where all the action is at. Get familiar with the files section. Do not trust everything in the files section because people post things. If I post it, you can probably trust it. But I wouldn't even put your trust in me. I would go behind me. Put your trust in no man. But my teaching style is different because why? What do? I teach you what I'm learning and I show you where it's at. That way you can read it for yourself. My job, it took me 12 years to get here. My job is to make sure it don't take you 12 years. Well, here's the thing you got that you're missing, Major. You know there's three products of conception. If you go to my link tree, on the very top is a YouTube video, and most people gloss over it because they think they know what the all caps name is. I put up a video, it's an hour and 18 minutes long. It's an evidentiary video. Who or what is the all caps name? And guess what? Most people won't even pay attention to it because why? Oh, I know what the all caps name is. No, you don't. There's three products of conception, and I show the documents. You got the umbilical cord, you got the placenta, and you got the baby. I did a video on my footprint documents showing, hey, mom took the baby home, but guess what didn't get recorded? All three products are supposed to be recorded, but guess who never got recorded? You. Why? They don't have any jurisdiction over the man. The mom took the baby home, and the father was derelict in his duty. What do you mean feeding the ego? I'm not feeding the ego. I'm telling you where to freaking go look. So I don't know if you're talking to me though. I don't know. Um, Go to my link tree on my bio. That's how you can get to it. Um, I show the CDC document that lists all 50 states that talk about three products of conception. You got an umbilical cord, you got the placenta, and you got the baby. Well, guess what? The mother signed a contract long before the birth event happened, for the most part, giving an assignment to the hospital over those products. And by operation of law, which ones got filed? It's called the other two products. They got recorded. And guess what? Under the born alive test, as long as it was alive when it was separated from the mother, it doesn't matter how long it was alive. It was supposed to be recorded. And I've got a video on my YouTube channel where Vital Records admitted, oh, yeah, it was placed in probate, but we can't discuss our internal policy. Well, the reason the mom was the informant, and everybody's caught up on that, is go read the. I've got the lost infant codes almost in every state, and I have the federal law to back it up. The mother is not coming in as the mother; she's coming in as the custodian, and she's called an informant because the custodian is informing the state on what the name of the infant is. I just talked to a lady yesterday. I said, don't you have your footprint documents for your children? She said, yes, I do. I said, would you be so kind and tell me on that document what the name of your child is? I said, she said, there's not one. I said, exactly. No, you're not dead. People go into court like these state nationals. I'm the living man. Well, duh, we know you're alive. You're here. You've been alive all this time. It's not that you're the decedent. The decedent is its own thing. Yeah, your daughter's has no name on it. Mine only has a given name. Don't even have the family name. My daughters don't even have that. It just says BG, which stands for baby girl. But guess what? There's a patient name and two other names that go with it. And that's from the hospital records, and that's what started the process. That's what started the accounts. People are making presumptions on that birth certificate that it's them because yes, we love our moms. And yes, we it's nice to believe she gave us that name. But we have no, in court, we have no first-hand knowledge. You're getting your rights together. You might want to talk to Mark first because he did it. He did. And I laughed. Yeah, whole grain. That's right. You don't get white rice. It might be racist. Gotta be whole grain. When you start learning how the principles are and you simplify things, things start making a lot more sense. My buddy Melvin, I mean not Melvin, yeah, Myron Rice, that's his name. My buddy Myron Rice, he actually used to send his bills to the who he thought was the trustees. He's now retired. He has no bills. But when he did, for like 18 months, he was sending them to the people he thought was the trustees and getting them paid. It was the other, last month when me and him had a conversation. I showed him who the trustees were. He didn't even know that. He said, "Oh my God, that changes the nature of the game." He said, "Now that I definitely have evidence of who the trustees are, it changes things up." I said, "Don't it?" Non citizen passports, do you have evidence of that? See, a lot of people out there getting the passports, they're claiming, "Oh, look, I got 5 stars. That means I'm a non citizen." Really? I can tell you now, I only know of one person because of the community I run with. That standard U.S. citizen passport, no, they don't have that. They actually have a what we call a Freebird passport, and it shows the eagle and then a baby eagle flying away. I said, that's a new development. See, people make presumptions because some guru told them. Because they went and filled out papers and they think that's what it means because, oh, I got my passport. His, I can tell you now, the stars, I don't think they mean what people think. Because a friend of mine, I know her story. She lives near me. She was declared sovereign by the Secretary of State. They called her when they processed her paperwork. And they told her that you will have your passport book and card in the morning in hand. True to their word, it was in her hand the next morning. She called me when she got it. And guess what? Hers has 3 stars. See, most people are not correcting the right information. The SS5, they don't even know how to fill that out. It's not flying anywhere there because why? People make presumptions because they do a process on what some guru told them. They never start with the foundation and work up. Look, the Bible talks about if your foundation is built on sand, what's going to happen? Your house is going to fall. We never talk about the foundation and start from there. We didn't get here overnight. We got here over a long period of building up from that foundation. But nobody ever wants to go back to the foundation and fix anything. They want to do what some guru promises the world and says, "Oh, this will fix all your problems." And then they find out later it don't. I told you to go Google Fast Eddie. Go Google signatories to the trustee reports. They show you the trustees right there on the website for the Social Security Administration. Yeah, I know they try whatever they see, and they really shouldn't try anything that they're not ready to defend or that they understand. I don't know. We have nobody's shown me hard evidence of what those stars mean. I don't know. Nobody's shown me any, and trust me, I have a Westlaw account. I have access to a lot of things y'all have no idea about. I can go to the Department of Treasury and look at the things under the Department of Treasury that the average person doesn't even know exist. I got access to. The stars, I can't find anything anywhere on Westlaw that shows me what those stars are. Can't. You can't find my CUSA. Well, yeah, like people out there sitting there screaming, Go to Fidelity, get the CUSIP. That is not right. That is not how you find a CUSIP. Those people are actually presuming that they punch in some numbers because a guru told them to do it this way. Oh, look, I found my CUSIP. No, you didn't. Where's the name attached to it? Show me evidence of the name attached to it, and I might believe you. Well, you got all credits. Have you now? Are you familiar with the SS5 FS form or the SS5? Have you ever paid attention um, why there's three name lines on that form? I know why there's three name lines on there. Just did a class on this week and a half ago. Do you also know why there's two birthday lines? Gotta wonder. For a bond, no, the name lines are not for a bond. Wrong. Go look at the SS5. Go look at box one. Box one, it says on the top, name to be shown on card. Second line, name if other than above at birth. Third line, other name used. People don't even know what that's for. Yeah, one is for the born date, one is for the registration date. But again, do you have firsthand knowledge that's your birth date? No, you don't. You know, the Bible talks about thou shalt not lie, but people walk around and lie all day long. The gears are cranking. Well, I'll tell you what it is, but you are probably going to have a hard time finding it. It's called the patient name. The patient name that was created during the birth event, before the birth certificate was created. And yeah, this is actually, that patient name is a hospital by hospital discretionary name. Nope. I ain't seen nobody's footprint documents that have the given name and baby boy. No. Mine had my mother's married last name, her first name, and baby male. Okay. My daughter's was my wife's maiden name, and it says BG, which stands for baby girl. But that was the patient name. So basically, it would have been like Doe, comma BG. I'm like, each hospital can do it their own way as long as they follow a certain formula. And guess what? That goes on the third name line. I don't know. I don't know how every hospital does it. It's possible. Extraordinary. Yeah. Why you say long time? It's probably because I'm busy on Telegram so much. I'm really trying to get more involved on here. Yeah, it does tie into the Bible. If you really want to know about correcting the record, that's what we're talking about, Craig. Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and unto God that which is God's. See, you gotta quit presuming that name is you. You gotta quit presuming that entity that they created is you. What's up, cool fox? He's in my group. What's up, brother? Um, because when you start really grasping all this, you start realizing, holy crap, I've been free all this time. Chris Hauser, he's a joke. His 1099A process is badly flawed. Now he's out there telling everybody he's in communication with the Treasury on private banking. I don't believe him for a second. Anyway, I've actually got a phone call recorded where I did talk to the private side of a bank. I know where it's at, and I've got the forms and how to do it. I'm just not going to put them in the public because some of this stuff you can't put in the public. See, Cool Fox has heard me teach this stuff. He gets it. He's figuring out how he's been free all this time. He just he's starting to slow. He came from another country. But you know what, Craig? The dirty little secret is the republic is still there, but the people don't recognize things. It's the people that are ignorant. The government's working as designed. Why is everybody so interested in Chris Hauser? Hey, why is everybody interested in most of these gurus? They promise them gold. Most of the people out there in the communities are heathens. All they care about is what can I get for free. Somebody out there says, "Oh, do my process. It'll get you all this. It'll get you a new car, get you a new house," and they flock to it, right? So one thing Chris Hauser says is you're the beneficiary. Well, I've got evidence to the contrary, and my buddy Tim recorded a phone call because of me saying what I'm saying about 8 months ago. My buddy Tim called the Social Security Administration and asked them, "Am I the beneficiary?" They said, "Oh, yes, you are." He said, "Can you please present that in writing?" "Oh, no, we can't." And then later on, he kept pushing and kept pushing. They finally said, "No, you're not the beneficiary yet." Yeah, remembering who you remember, you got to learn who you are as a player in the game. Well, learning a process doesn't teach you procedures. Well, one, you're making a presumption that it's yours, Kathy. It's not yours. I mean, how do you define it? I define it as a general agent, comma, beneficial owner, comma, name holder. It's not yours. Why not? I've done multiple videos on my YouTube channel on this and on my Rumble channel showing why. Go back to the principle first in line, first in time. Some of y'all have heard that. Whose name is on the top of the document? Who created the document? The state. It's the employee. That's why the second trustee in the list is the Secretary of the Department of Labor. Because when you filled out a W-4 for a job and you put the name of the entity, the EIN called a social, you put an address, you checked U.S. citizen, who's the actual employee? It's not you, it's the trust. So the trustee has to keep up with what the trust is doing. The address you put down is the office of the agent, which is you. And under the 14th Amendment, the courts have clearly stated that a trust is a U.S. citizen. So you didn't lie. It is a U.S. citizen, but you are not it. Well, I'm glad I have your attention, Kathy. Everything I'm saying on here, if you watch my videos, or you're in my Telegram group, I actually do show evidentiary documents. Yeah, that's why it's a government obligation under the New Deal. I can take you to I can take you to the FBI's website talking about CPNs. And Hey, Whitney, long time no see. Me causing trouble? Never. Um, it's just like I show people on the FBI website. They talk about how it's legal to use a CPN, but those that do, they have 100% liability for all the debt they incur. And I pointed out to people, now it's a lot longer paragraph than that, and I pointed out to people, I said, you notice it's talking about the social security number and the CPN? They say, yeah. I said, have you ever thought about why they don't say that about the social security number? They only say that if you use a CPN. Everybody's out there teaching to go get a trust and operate under a trust and accept all the liability, blah, blah, blah. Me, I don't want to accept no more liability. Well, Eon did a video on this showing how you can gift debt to the United States. Why wouldn't you gift it to them? No, it's not yours, Cool Fox. You know that. How can you, if the trustees are the legal owner of the name, how can it be yours? Now, can you be a name holder and have an interest in it? Yes, but are you the only one that has an interest? No. So what's I would have to go look that up because I don't have it in front of me right now. But there is a process. Yeah, everybody has rights and interest in something. I mean, the only thing you actually own is your rights and interest. Outside of that, it's all God's. And ownership brings liability. And the only thing you can take with you when you die is your rights and interest. You can't take anything else. Well, Major, I will tell you what I'm working on doing. And I'm waiting to see the letters I just sent out. I'm thinking they're going to turn some eyebrows. But I just sent them out about a week and a half ago. No, maybe almost a week ago, actually. Um, all but three letters have been received, and I know I'm waiting for that special one to come back that shows filed. Um, but the way I look at it is, look, the Fifth Amendment guarantees the right that they cannot seize your property. What is property? Your property is rights and interest. Okay, they can't seize your rights and interests without just compensation. Why are you working for free all this time? That's my question. Oh, I got somebody who wants to talk. Let's see. Up, Al. How's it going, Rooster? Al, you're lagging. I accepted you, but you're not coming up. What's up, Cool Fox? How you doing, brother?
Well, go on, Pastor. I
I
cannot hear the
know
other
you
guy.
supposed look. You supposed to know this stuff. You've been in my group for a long time.
Well, I've been in and out because I've been doing a lot of different reading and studying. Remember, he told me I must read, so I read. What I was calculating, what I was asking questions, and some of the questions I'm putting in is question that people will want to ask, not necessarily my my thoughts. so that so
Okay,
that you
okay.
can give and so you can give answer to it that they can actually hear.
Yeah, actually understand.
Yeah.
Now, if any of y'all in the live that's listening, if you have at least 1,000 followers and you want to, you can jump in the box. We can have a discussion. And sometimes it's actually easier to talk. Yeah, you can be a name holder if you get things set up right. What the letter? Hey, the class I just had. I know you saw me announce it in the group on the tax forms. Um, they actually, I actually put the template of the letter that I sent off. I sent it to 14 different agents. Oh no, Kathy, you may not have. You're new to my group. I think, but I'm talking about on. Yeah, the class was on the recorded. It's a 200. It's $200. It's a 3 hour class going over all the documents and everything's in the file in the Google Drive. Um, but I know what I put in that class works because I've seen it work, not just in my life, but my buddy Kenny down in Tennessee. He filed those forms with his employer. He don't have nothing coming out of his check. He sent me his checks and showed it. But the W-4, you got W-2s, W-4s, and 1099s are all Class 5 gift and estate. Why is that? Because the employer pays the estate and you are gifting the companies. How do you gift the companies? You pay bills. That's a gift.
Yep.
And since you were not filing your papers right and you're thinking that's your name and you're supposed to do it this way when you don't really know, guess what? You ain't got nobody to blame but yourself. Because why? Everything you're doing with their system, you're making a presumption. On the other hand, when you start learning the rules and who is who and what is what, you're like, wait a minute here. I ain't working for free no more.
You ain't working for free no more. You hear that? Got to charge people for your work.
Hey, look, I just sent a letter to the State Department of Health and Human Services. The birth certificate, they have said the certificate of live birth, right? I got 5 copies. I'm waiting for the other one to come back because I sent it to the with the SS5FS form. Um, I sent them a letter and said a delivery receipt for warehouse goods. So I said, hey, since I am storing your property at my warehouse, resident, domicile, or on my person at all times, it will be a $15 a day storage fee to be billed out starting September 1st. You are placed on a net 30 billing cycle. And if I have to do any special performance for your property, it is a $5,000 for the first hour and 1,000 each hour thereafter. And I sent 3 letters out to the Secretary of Department of Health and Human Services in my state, to the to the chief financial officer of that agency, and to Vital Records. I hope they send me back a letter saying, you can't do that, really. Because the last time I looked, the Northwest Ordinance forbids slavery, so did the 13th Amendment, either or, make your choice. And the Fifth Amendment says you can't use my property, aka rights and interest, without just compensation. So if you're going to continue to do these things, I'll be more than happy to perform. And I'll be more than happy. And since you force us to have to use these documents in commerce, you need to start compensating me for my time. I will not work for free no more.
Not only that you're working for free, you're actually paying them for it as well, right?
Yeah, that's right. People are going to work, working for free, and then turning around and paying all these institutions to work for free.
So majority of the things that I've been doing lately, right, Pastor, is not using any of the documents. So and I realized that they can't stop me from not doing
Not
such.
you talking about not using their forms. You're
Right.
writing your own stuff.
Right.
Ain't that what I've been teaching you?
Right. So I don't use them their forms. Even the other day when I even stopped registering stuff. I start doing recording. So I realized that those things are very key in keeping certain things secure. If you want to
Yeah.
keep things secure, because when I
Well,
look
you
at it
got to
like
be
that,
careful. See, you got to be careful. And here's why. If you're going for ownership, you got to remember ownership brings liability. Do you want the liability? Everybody has a free choice to decide the path they're on. If you want the liability, then yes, you can become the owner. But if the car is owned by the state because the MCO was given to the state, which is the true ownership documents, right? Then
hmm
why not make them the liable party and say, hey, I will not accept liability for your property anymore, but I will retain my use of it because I have to. So, hey, you're the liable party. Start contracting with the government and doing it right. Let them have the obligation. You see what I'm saying?
right, right, right. I 100% get you right there when they put it that way. You know, yeah, yeah, reject liability because as if they're the MCO, which is the Olaf Duke of the ownership, there, right? As I said, any liability to come to them, why we paying for it?
Yeah. Well, look, the Second Amendment guarantees you the right to do what? Alter or abolish your government, right? Well, guess what? Most people take it to the extreme and they say, let's rise up arms and blah, blah, blah. No. Me and Boris was having a conversation one day and he said, is that all it means? He said, I don't believe it does. He said, think about it. You have the right to alter your government, all right? And I got to thinking about how the laws are written at the federal level. Who writes the laws? Most of them are written by lobbyists, right? Now, who does the lobbyist represent? The elite and the corporations, right? So it's highly logical based on that to say, wait a minute, they're actually practicing their Second Amendment and they are altering the government to fit their needs. Well, guess what? Article 1, Section 10, the contract clause. If they have the right, so do you. See what I'm saying?
I'm there, yeah, 100%, man.
The
Uh,
problem is the people don't know how to contract. They don't even know the rules to contract. They list another person today put out a video saying, "Show me the wet ink signature." Like a wet ink signature is all there is that makes a contract. No, there's more than that.
my chef, I don't understand my chef, not a chief.
No,
But
no, Cool Fox. He goes by Cool Fox on here and in Telegram.
the the thing what I wanted to ask you the other day was the about I didn't know if you see it. It was something about some working discrimination act because I was going to go for a passport without contracting for it, and I wanted to do something where I just apply for the services without using the document, and and looking forward to make sure they don't reject me. I wanted to put certain things on it, so that's why I was asking inside of the group. when I was there,
Yeah.
but I didn't know if he didn't know if he saw it
Well,
because
one guy says, yes, I do have a Telegram group. It's in my link tree. It's on my bio.
guys, it's well informative. Well informative. If you don't join that Telegram, please do. It's well informative. It probably is in the bio. You can get great content there. And
Now,
if you guys like to read, then you'd find a lot of things there.
now, P. Cruz, you said that the wedding signature finalizes the deal, right? Well, that depends. Did you need a wet ink signature to go to McDonald's or Hardee's or any fast food chain? No. You went in with the intent to do business. They showed you the contract up on the wall called a menu or on a screen. They performed. They gave you consideration, which is the food. They performed and cooked it. And if they didn't get it right, what do? You give them the food back. Did they charge you twice or once? No, when they messed up, they eat the cost of the first one. If they get it right, then you pay for it. It's simple. Contracts. Okay. You don't need a wedding signature for that. All you needed was what? It's an implied or express. It's an implied contract. It would also be an express contract because it's right there in front of you.
Right.
Just there are many types of contracts, and more than not, you have contracted in such a way by your own words. You go to court, they call the name. You presume they're calling you. You say, "I'm here." You just contracted. You pled guilty automatically to the very first thing that you have no firsthand knowledge of. That it is your name. From there on out, it's downhill. I got a ticket last year. 12 days before court, I called the court clerk. We had us a nice long conversation. It was about 8 minutes long. But one of the last questions she said was, "Is this your name?" I said, "Ma'am, that name is owned by the United States. They're the secured party in this matter, and I'm just the general agent for that estate, and I must notify the principal of anything that affects its interest." She said, "Can you hold a few minutes?" I said, "Yep." And then she said, "Oh, that matter's been sealed and dismissed." And if you scroll down through here, you'll find a video that has nothing but a solid white background. It's way down my videos on here. Or go to my Rumble channel, scroll to my very first video, and you can see the ticket sealed and dismissed. I showed it. I said a lot more things other than that before that, but I put the fear of God in her. Now, Cool Fox, by the way, the algorithm don't work for you when you're liking it because why? You're in the chat. You're in the box. Now, people that are not in the box, if y'all like it, the algorithm will push it. Yeah. So there's a there's a lot of things that we make presumptions on, and the Bible calls presumption a sin. That's why I keep saying the government is doing nothing but punishing you for your sins. Oh, you talking about the ticket, Melvin? On the you heard me talk about on one of my videos today? Yeah. Some of my videos I've repeated almost word for word what I said, and I've got it recorded. I've Fearless Floyd. I've shared the recording with him. Popeye's in my group. I shared the recording with. He's heard the recording. I I've got. I can prove all of the stuff I do. I think that's a personal choice. I don't see a problem with it, but you already have a trust. What is that blue card you carry in your pocket? It's a trust. It has trustees, and the trustees are the legal owner. So really, that's why I don't have a problem using it anymore. I know what it is. I will use it. Oh, trust me. People don't like it when they call me. They won't talk to me. I tell them, say, hey, I'm the registered agent for that estate. Well, we don't have anything in our file that says that. I said, I thought you knew who you were calling. Yeah, the case was dismissed. It was sealed and dismissed. Actually, for my Century members, Nate, um, we do 2 classes a month on the first and third Saturday. At least I try to do them on Saturdays. Um, Occasionally, because of whatever's going into the trucking industry with my job and stuff, I might have to reschedule for the next day. But normally they're first and third Saturdays from 3 to 7. We do a workshop. We're just finished class 10 on the law of agency. And then there is also a members only group on Telegram where the alternate Saturdays we're in there having discussion, and we'll finish the law of agency next month, and everything's recorded. And then starting October, we'll be going through the law of contracts. Um, that right now is the number one classes I got going on. Now, after the law of contracts, then we'll get into the law of trust, then the law of equity, and I guarantee you, you hang around that long and you get this stuff down pat, you'll be ready to go to private banking. I guarantee you that, because you'll know the rules to the game. You'll be able to write your own processes. You'll be able to write your own contracts, because one of the things I teach in the membership groups that we're all working together, and I'm teaching people how to write their documents, because you have the right to not self-incriminate. Well, you got to learn how to write so you don't incriminate yourself. Less words sometimes is a lot better. And most people tend to write a book. So you give them a way out. Well, Aaron, writing your documents for private banking, what do you mean by that? See, most people don't understand what private banking really is. Yeah, keep it short, sweet, to the point. And try not to make any claims that you cannot prove. It's
So,
actually
Pastor,
harder to write than people think.
I have a document that I prepared. I wanted to take a review at it. But this it's all my private information on it, so I wanted to keep it to yourself.
Yeah, I'll keep it to myself. You should know me well enough for
Yeah.
that.
So
Send it to me privately. I won't promise you when I'll get to it. How quick do you need it back?
no, it can take up to a week or so.
Yeah, 'cause I'll be driving for another couple hours. Then I'm gonna go give my pillow some head. Um, and then I got to get up tomorrow and drive another 600 and some miles, and I won't deliver this till Friday evening. But now, for y'all listening, yeah, when it comes to paperwork reading, yeah, that's a consultation thing. I do charge for that. So, but me and Cool Fox, we discuss that stuff privately. See, Cool Fox, he's been in my group for a long time. I met him on here.
Meeting pastor up until now is a total life changing, guys. Total life changing. It put me in a
I
perspective.
look.
Not
I've had two long time people. When I say long time people, that's been at it long as I have or longer. I had a guy pay for a consultation. He paid the $100 consultation fee, the evening one, and he's in Georgia. He could have done it during the day, because during the day it's $75. In the evening it's 100. He purposely paid the 100. He's been at this 20 years. He lives down the street from Yusufale, and some El Bay guy down there near Yusufale. He's been through the gurus too, and he said he's dropped everybody because of what I'm teaching. There's a lady in my group. I'll leave her name unspoken because people will bum rush her. She used to transcribe Gene Keating's classes. So This woman's been around the block a while and knows some things. She told me too. She said, I've dropped everybody because of what you're teaching. She said, you actually have done something nobody else has ever done. You've went back to the foundation and you show the evidence of what happened and you help people come forward to fix things. And you're teaching them how to do it. And you don't just make stuff up, you show it right in the government's own words. Well, Aaron, a lot of people claim to have a 9-8 number. I'm assuming you're talking about a 9-8 number. Um, yeah, and you filed a UCC on the name. You probably didn't do that right. Because what authority do you have to file on somebody else's property if you did not do a proper administrative process proving there was a debt? That's why I don't agree with the secured party creditor process anymore. The trust side, I don't have a problem with the trust side. The trust side, yeah, trust law talk. I've been studying trust law for anything for many years. I like trust law. Do I recommend everybody doing a trust? Not necessarily. Am I against it? No. That's really up to you. Okay. But you got to know how to manage it. Most people don't know how to manage it. You cannot correct the name again, JD. That's not your name. You have no firsthand knowledge that was your name. All you did was did a name correction on their property. They told you on the back of the social that it was their property. Everybody runs around saying, that's mine, that's mine. We're like a bunch of 2-year-olds with a new toy that we don't want to share. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be difficult. It's the facts. The UPU, I don't get into that. It's just like a lot of people out there, they do this thing, what do they call it? Um, tax per Q. I went to my Westlaw account and looked that up and see is there really any legitimacy to that? The answer is no. This is why I say that, but JD, this is why I say the secured party process, that side of it, when it comes to the name, is flat wrong. Because why? People are making presumptions over the name they can't prove. If you had to prove in court that was your name, how could you? You have no firsthand knowledge. That's right. They believe they're gonna get money. Really? Where's the evidence? It's yours. I mean, it's not. I've got a letter from the freaking Treasury and my congressman that clearly say it's not mine and it's not linked to any of the people. But see, people will believe what they choose because hopium is addictive. And now don't get me wrong, I've done the secured party process. I did that back in 2020. And I got a letter one day from the IRS that said that my filing was fraudulent. And I asked my wife, I said, I don't send them any documents. What the hell are they talking about? All they put on the document was the date. They said, your filing on this date is fraudulent. It's a frivolous filing. And I'm like, it took me almost a week to figure out what they were talking about. Luna, stop. Stop. So I said, wait a minute. That was the day that the UCC was filed. That's what that was. They said it was frivolous. Now, so how do they prosecute the name? Because you play the part of the dummy. A dummy doesn't mean what people think it is. I think it means, what's up, Blue Jean? I ain't seen you in a while. Well, guess what, Blue Jean? Um, there's a book in my group called Commercial Paper and Payment Law. If you would read that book, you would actually learn the basics of banking, and you would have been able to possibly start doing things. A lot of gurus are. I can tell you, I'm not. I don't try to rape and pillage the people. I won't name one certain girl that makes anywhere they make anywhere from $20,000 to $70,000 a class. Well, it's not even a class. She just gets on there and rants and raves, and I think that's absurd. Now, well, good morning. Well, the first thing I want to know is, do you take my card? It's Fleet card.
We take Fleet One. I've never seen one like this. I've never taken one like this personally.
It works over there.
I figured.
I just need reefer.
You just need what?
Reefer. Trailer. Okay. Well, you may not be the man, but that trust is a taxpayer. That trust is a legal fiction. That trust is their property. And I'm not going to talk about it on here, but I have talked about it on my videos on YouTube, and I have talked about it on one of my members actually had a bill for $450,000 from the IRS that we so far looks like it's disappeared. And that's just because I taught him what I learned and what I know. And he hired me to write his letters. He's having fun with that stuff. They won't even show him anything now. They just like, no, let's go. This one's gone. And I'm not looking at the screen, so if y'all want to hold your comments, I'm not looking. I'm fueling my trailer. Uh, shoot, my buddy Mark, he made 70,000 in back taxes disappear last year. Blue Jean, you have a good night. I ain't got a piece of paper. I'll get you your information that you need. Oh, I'll be back. I got to get the information. Well, all credits. That's not true. There's a lot of people out there saying, do the revocation of election. One, that trust is theirs. How do you have the power to make decisions for the trustees? So the one thing I wish TikTok would do would let you do share screen, because I'd really be able to show you a lot. But they said this, they activated the gaming side on my account. But then they said, if you're not doing gaming, you can't share screen. Now, hold on a second. I got to pay for my fuel. that. And where'd I put it? Dummy, I put it in my pocket. You're welcome. Do I know Dayweight? No, not really. Yeah, it's garbage. I do think it's garbage. I have a refrigerated trailer. I'm a truck driver by trade. Oh, I've heard about that on using oil. Oh, I already know about Dave Champion and some of his premises are wrong also. Cool Fox, yeah, go take care of your wife, brother. What's with what symbology? Yeah, turquoise American spirits.
They got them over there.
There you go.
Thank you.
You have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go play in traffic and continue on TikTok. No, the logo is not symbology. The logo is my family crest. I traced my family line and found my family crest. Okay, so I know my heritage and my lineage. I didn't misrepresent anything. Okay, P. Cruz, you stay safe too. But I didn't misrepresent anything. I just made the video on that one case that I know about. There's a lot more cases. Plus, it's actually in the United States Code. So how did I misrepresent anything? Yeah, you will never get to the private side going to your local bank. I'll tell you that now. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing fine. I've done that. That's what I want right there.
Well, L&M? Oh, okay. Well,
One.
what's your birthday, dear?
Well, it's not time. Mine is not English. Okay, works for me.
1082.
Um, mine actually, our family line goes back to Scotland. That's where the family crest come from. Well, let me switch with you because I don't have a dollar. Yeah, Kathy, that's the whole thing Brad Tipton put out was go to Fidelity, type in numbers, and all of a sudden you'll find your CUSIPs. No, that's not true. Been there, done that. I've got his books. The one thing people don't ever prove when they do these processes that they promise you that you'll find this and you'll find that is they never show the name attached to anything.
Have a good one.
You too, ma'am. How can I explain that why his stuff is wrong? Because why? He's applying it like everybody else applies it. That's my name. I'm the taxpayer. I'm this. I'm that. So he starts from that premise. Okay. So if you start from that premise that that's my name, and you start that that's you, everything thereafter is going to be wrong. Now they don't hide much. Kathy, let me explain it to you this way: why it's not accurate. You remember the '08 housing collapse? What is the one thing we learned about? We learned about something called mortgage-backed securities, right? Well, what do? They bundle. We'll just look at it. They take 1,000 mortgages and bundle it into one security. Okay, so knowing how they do that process, do you really think you're going to be able to look up your social, that your social is that important, that you are going to find a CUSIP that is only tied to your social? No. That's why you cannot go to the GMEI utility and look up your social. All you're doing is looking up a database and using numbers. You're going to Fidelity and using numbers. You're doing, and it's just like they promise you gold, and they get you to buy into it, because when you're new at this and it sounds right, guess what? People fall for it. It's no different. If you really want to find your CUSIPs, you would have to go to an actual Series 7 through 10 broker. You'd have to pay them some money. They can find them if they will. Well, I know they changed the GMEI. They actually also got rid of it off of the DTCC. Well, the American people are not, but guess what? There's a difference. 14th Amendment, corporations, they do. They gave you a trust, and guess what? It does have to. But you're volunteering to be the liable party. And a lot of this stuff I'm talking about that y'all are bringing up, I've bought a t-shirt. I've been there, done that. I paid a guy the $125 just to test it out. He said, oh, well, I can get your CUSIPs, really? So I said, okay, let's try it out and see. Oh, yeah, my buddy out in California, he's a broker. They got me information. I looked at everything and I said, what's missing? There's no evidence the name is attached to it. I already know what they're doing. Yes, you out there create these negotiable instruments under 12 USC 412. Okay? They're called collateral securities. How do you get out of it? I wouldn't want to get out of it. I want to start operating right so I wouldn't have to. But see, LDC, you're presuming you have to file a W-4. My truck is leased on. I'm self-employed. I didn't do a W-9. My buddy sold his truck because of how bad the trucking industry is. He didn't do a W-4, and I did a class on this about a week and a half ago. Properly filed tax documents showing exactly how to fill everything out. And my buddy Kenny as an employee, he did not do a W-4. The company called the IRS and said, he won't do a W-4. He gave us these forms. Is this legit? They said, yeah, go ahead, take it. He has no FICA, no Medicare, and no taxes coming out. Does his FICA get paid? Yeah, by the company. They still have to pay it because they are the taxpayer. Oh, you'd have to get the class to get that letter. That wouldn't be fair to the other people that took the class. But let me tell you, it's a nice 8-page document. That's one of the forms. Most everybody knows about that one, but that's not the only one. There's a whole separate one too. I do have a YouTube, and there's like over what's like and I do have a Rumble. Nope, not the 82, not the 8233, not that. No. Now let's get back on the big road, cause I gotta go for another 40 miles and then park. Oh, Path to Freedom. Um, I asked her one question when she used to be on TikTok. She never answered it. She blocked me, and I lost respect from her right then. And then I've had many of people that have paid her for her stuff, and when it don't work and they go back to her, she won't help them. And then if they bring an issue about it in the group, she removes them from the group. That I have a problem with. You're gonna pay me money for my time. You're gonna get my time. It ain't gonna be no throwing you out of no group. So yeah, I don't care for her. And I corrected Caleb on that today. I normally don't talk about her. I don't put things out there like that. I'm not gonna put videos up bashing her. I'm not. I'm better than that. No, I don't think they're accurate at all. I think she's just taking bits and pieces. She's promising people gold, and then they pay her a bunch of money, and a lot of them don't have success. But it takes anywhere from 30 days to 6 months to find out that it don't work, and by then you've ended up losing so much. About the 0% book, I think it's propaganda. My wife purchased it for me because my dad got it. Man, I told my dad he's going to have to jump on Telegram sometime so I can have him tell some of his stories of the things he's done. But because people in my group on Telegram, they hear me talk about the things my dad's done. He tried to teach me this a long time ago. But no, 0%, it's a lot of propaganda. It has some truth mixed with propaganda. And it's no different than the devil. Go back when the Redemption Manual, another crap book. I've been through the gurus in 12 years. I tell people, stop reading guru books. Stop it. People have asked me to write a book. I said, no. I said, I thought about it. But the only thing that keeps me from writing a book is most of the people that would buy the book would rely on the book instead of going to go look up the information. The government has to tell you everything. The attorneys write books telling you how it works. The government publishes every darn thing telling you how it works. Stop reading guru books and read it out of their own mouth. That's how I teach people. I teach people, I say, look, here's what I know. Here's what they say. If you think I'm wrong, please come back and tell me, but read it for yourself. Well, The Fruit of the Poisonous Tree was actually a good book. It was written by an attorney. And the fruit of the poisonous tree is actually a legal principle. Now, do I agree with the attorney and everything in that book? No, I don't. Because it's the whole perception of the people that says it's fraud, that the government has committed fraud is not right. And here's why. They have published everything. Even the states are publishing everything. The funny thing about full disclosure is this. They have to give full disclosure, yes. But do you know there's nothing in the principles of law that says how they have to give you disclosure? They give you disclosure in all their writings. They give you disclosure in the movies. They give you disclosure everywhere. It's like people in my group always ask about, well, how do I discharge debt? I say, hey, read this book. It's called Commercial Paper and Payment Law. It's written for law students that are in law school. It will explain the basics of banking. I said the problem isn't that people aren't maybe doing right processes out there. Maybe some people are, but they know these groups exist, and they know the average person is filling out templates and has no knowledge to defend it. Yeah, that's the name of the book. It's in the file section in my group, in my Telegram group, and it's free. It's right there. Anybody can read it. See, the difference is, yeah, do I do classes? Yes, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Does that mean I'm going to turn you away? No. If you want to learn the file section, I put stuff in there for you to learn, but you're going to read. If you want processes, I'm not the guy. But if you want to learn how to defend those processes and learn the principle, I'm your guy. I will teach you all the principles. So once you get those mastered, you can defend it. Tanika, that's in my bio. Go to my link tree. That'll get you to my main page. And then fool around with the Telegram menus till you get to the discussion group. Once you apply, I'll go in and accept after the live is over. And if you see, there's two bots. One is called Shieldy and one is called Rose. If you do get into the group, Rose is going to say, click here to show you're human. Please do that. That'll get you to where you can actually type. Once you can type, if you see Shieldy, Shieldy's asking you a math problem. Answer the math problem. Then you won't get banned. But if that happens, reach out to me. My messages are open and I'll help you get in. But yeah, I've got a bunch of smart people in my room. Boris is in there, Popeye's in there, David Michael's in there. We got to get him to 1,000 followers on here, so he can go live on here. One of the people in my group, Private Nobody is what he goes by. He's been at this 36 years, and he told me himself, he said, you are the only person that's actually teaching principles. Nobody out there is doing it. Well, if you get into my group, you will get exposed to a lot better information. Yeah, and homework is included because you have to get to where you are competent at it. Oh, me and Eon talk regularly. I got his phone number. He calls me, I call him, we talk. Well, I don't know who Rebecca is. I couldn't tell you. Yusuf El, I started out with Yusuf El, but when it comes to his trust law class, I will recommend that. I've got it. I've got those webinars. I absolutely like his trust law teachings. But when it comes to the secured party stuff, no. Only the trust law side I agree with. Coming to the name, I don't. And I commented on one of his videos. Told him, I said, yeah, the problem with this is he was double-minded. The one he put up on there about the sovereign citizen fail. I said, yeah, he was double-minded. He kept saying he wasn't the name, but he would answer to the name. And Yusuf commented to me. He said, yeah, people's used the name argument and have never won. I said, I have. He said, prove it. Yeah, Robots and Patriots, that's Patrick Devine's family. I wouldn't trust a lot of his information. I left him a long time ago. See, most of the people teaching process, again, I'll stress it, they start with the wrong presumption. They start from the presumption of that's my name. I haven't seen any evidence of the 5 stars. I think people are making presumptions on what the stars mean. I know somebody personally that the Secretary of State declared her to be a sovereign, and they told her your book and card will be there in the morning. And true to their word, she had it in the morning. And guess what? She only had 3. Nobody talks about your children. What do you mean, Aaron? I have a friend of mine on here on TikTok. He's from the farm. Look him up. He actually used to be a cop. He is the only person I know that's actually seen a do not detain list. Oh, ownership, equitable title to them. Um, the problem is your children never got recorded because most people don't know about the 3 products of conception and how only 2 products got recorded. The baby never got recorded. I've shown the evidence of that. Yeah, the Bible. That yeah. Now this is why the Secretary of State doesn't have jurisdiction over the man or woman once they know who they are, and that's why they will still take a Bible entry for identification. You're on. Are you on the main page, the Big Show, or are you in the chat group? If you're on the main page, you need to get to the chat group. You have to apply to get into that. Yes, you were the baby. The mother took you home. And guess what? The father never did their job. They never recorded you. Adam was absent in the garden, and Adam has been absent all this time. I don't think we have an account, but is there an account there with that name on it? Yes, there is. I can prove that. No, I don't think you can. I think it's there for your necessities, but not that you can claim it. It's not your property to claim. I've done videos on here showing the evidence that the account does exist. Well, what gets recorded, little shorty? The hospital records the event, right? What was the event? You can't. You can't record your own birth. And I wouldn't record it anyway. Well, let's go back to the word cash. Most people don't even know what money is. I talked about that earlier. Money is whatever 2 parties agree to. That that means at one time in history people used seashells. Who decided the seashells were valuable? The parties to the contract. My buddy Mark in Minnesota a few years ago got a traffic ticket. He let the judge, when I say let, I mean it for what I say, he let the judge find him guilty just to test a theory. When the judge pronounced the $200 fine, he said, "Thank you, Your Honor. Now, my first question is, dollar of what?" He said, "You know, Mr. Garrett, U.S. currency." He said, "No, I don't, Your Honor. Would you please define U.S. currency?" And then the judge looks at him and says, "You know how to handle it, Mr. Garrett," and walked out. And he goes out to the clerk, reaches in his little pouch, grabs a handful of rice, puts it on the desk, and says, "Keep the change." Yeah, I remember that. Took the I can't remember her name and his name, but yeah, they tried to buy an RV using that account without permission. It's not your account. Yeah, you can do that. You can trade couches for cars. I mean, Barter and trade is legal. They can't stop that. See, if the people actually learn what true banking is, it would change how they do business. Yeah, it's not your BC, it's state property. You don't need to record your baby. You just need to know who you are and who they are. Trust me. They can't prove that's them. Think about it. If the birth certificate is classified as double hearsay, how can the state prove they have ownership of your offspring? They can't if you know how to argue the point. The problem is most people don't know how to argue the point. And then they let fear get them, and fear is a sin. Okay? And what is the courts and the government regulate? Sin. Okay? So you go in there and the man in the black robe yells and screams and says things that, and you fall for it instead of learning how to speak and realize he's just a man. He puts his pants on just like you. What's the remedy? Learning the principles so you can operate in the system. You can't you can't ask for a remedy if you don't know the rules. Yes, there is a state citizenship and a federal citizenship. Is that the only citizenships out there? No. The only reason you're classified as an enemy of the state is look at what you're doing. You're trespassing on their property, using it to their detriment, and you're not even doing your job right, right? I mean, that trust is their property. They will tell you that. So you're running around claiming it's yours instead of saying, hey, trustees, your person has a matter that needs to be settled. Well, it depends on how they surrender because that's what Boris talks. Me and Boris talk about that. Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and unto God that which is God's. That clicked. But see, they can't leave you destitute either. So what do? You say, hey, you say I have to use this stuff. Okay, I'll be more than happy to continue to use it. But here's the rules. Start contracting. No, I have a couple of Telegram groups for different things. I have a membership only group. I have a church group that'll eventually be going because I have started a church. And I have the Boslikos Nomos is the group for this. And then you've got Boslikos Nomos chat that everybody needs to get into. Well, see the name, the Social Security, it's stuck up spaces in between. You talk about the name, you see the spaces, so you think it's first, middle, last. One, the Social Security Administration will tells you in their Palms manual they do not recognize a middle name. So that's why the government documents either only show a middle initial or no middle name at all. So guess what? You're presuming that it's a first, middle, last. Well, I can't do nothing at the moment. Did you get in and then get banned? If so, I'll have to go fix it. Well, what name did your mother and dad call you? Did she call you Tanika? That's the only name you know. So they don't record their offspring. Like, what is a Bible entry? A recording of your offspring. Can the republic be restored? The republic doesn't need to be restored. The republic has always been there. The problem is it's a house no one lives in. And the corporation doesn't need to be defeated. The corporate is under the power of Congress. I showed a video on that today where the courts have said, look, they have the authority to do that, and they can. The problem is you don't know the rules. The corporation is not this evil thing people make it out to be. Because of the people I run with that have success, you really get to understanding how simple it really can be. It's called the principles of law. That's the rules. So the corporation could be dissolved, yes, by Congress. Congress alone can dissolve it, and they never will because why? Article 1, Section 10, the contract clause. They have the right to contract unlimited just like you do. And I've got a document in my file section, I think, if not, it's in my on my phone, that talks about the Ashwander rule. Rule number 6 says that if you receive a privilege or benefit from a statute or code, that the Supreme Court will not pass upon the constitutionality of that. Because why? You contracted. You can't come back later once you contracted and say it's unconstitutional. Okay, so, and there's a video of Anton Scalia talking about uh, the constitutionality of these regulatory agencies and this, that, and the other. And he's talking to the guy in Congress, and he says, and most people gloss over it. He says, yeah, he said, when we rule on your unconstitutional laws, we don't strike them down, we just ignore them. Why? Because he understands the right to contract. In all honesty, it's so easy. We look over it. Yeah, we do. We look. The people out there in the guru community talk about the courts operate on presumptions and assumptions. That's not entirely true. It's not them that's operating on the presumptions. They ask you questions. You are the one operating on a presumption a lot of times. And guess what? Presumption's a sin. I put up an article on my website the other day explaining it. That presumption is a sin. Well, if presumption is sin, what are they doing? They're regulating sin. Yeah, it's not an evil corporation. The system is neutral. The system is actually beautifully designed. The system is neutral. Now, the individual in the system might be corrupt. The individual in the system might be evil, but the system itself is not. What can you do to get your parental rights when they were terminated? Well, they didn't terminate. They took your kid and took it away from you, yes. But guess what? When you start learning who you are, you have the potential of getting all that back. All they really honestly took away from you was the right to mess with that social security card. Just your kid is kind of stuck in the middle. Oh, yeah, the system is there to help. That is for sure. Because when you start, if you get brave enough to start talking to these government servants and you talk to them the right way, you don't want to sound too smart and you also don't want to sound too stupid. You want to find a good middle ground. My dad could tell you stories of people he's talked to. Some people have been in the system. First conversation when I started telling my dad what I was learning, it was a guy that was a retired banker, and his wife worked in securities. Guess what? The banker knew about the birth certificate. You know, the Wife did not. So some in the system know, some do not. And that's what you got to realize. Not everybody knows this stuff. Public and private does not mix. And yes, this stuff is kind of like a top down system. The higher up they are, the more they know. Oh, JD, me and my dad, we paid two attorneys $2,000 for 2 hours apiece. And I had the conversation about the birth certificate, the social, the Trading with Enemy Act, all of that. At the end of the conversation, the older attorney said, I said, now I've laid all this out. Can you find any fault? He said, no. What you said is logical and with evidence. He said, I can't find a single fault with what you said. At one point, I held up my social, pointed and looked at the younger attorney. I said, now, is that my name? He said, I presume it is. I flipped it over on the back and read the all important sentence. This card belongs to the Social Security Administration and must be returned if we ask for it. And I said, how can that be my name if I don't own it? He said, oh, I see what you're saying. As the judge asked him to go to dinner, nice. Hey, I got that traffic ticket sealed last year just from declaring. Well, I had a lot more conversation involved, which the guy earlier said he was listening to it on my video on YouTube. But when they come to the name, I said that is property of the United States through the Social Security. I mean, that is property of the United States. They're the secured party in this matter, and I'm just a general agent for that estate. She put me on hold and sealed and dismissed the case. Best place to do is come to my Telegram group. Go to my bio, click on my link tree, join my Telegram group. Get into the chat group, not the main page. You can join the main page freely. Once you get there, you need to get into the chat group. The next time I'm live on the chat group, if you're not in there, I will put a link on the main page so people can get in. But when I'm done with this live here shortly, those that have applied, I will go in and I will fix it. I will make sure that that the application that you can join. Then I will accept it after the live is over. I can't leave the live and go accept. So just be patient. Yeah, when you go to the main page, it'll say join, but no, you click on the name at the top, and there should be something. If you're on your computer, don't ask me how to do it. I just know it's there. If you're on your phone, you click on the name at the top, you'll see a little chat bubble when the menu drops down that says discussion. Click that discussion and hit apply. Once you apply, then I can get you. Then when I leave here, I'll go to Telegram. I'll accept everybody's application. To get the babies back, that would require. See, here's the problem. It depends on the case. Um, if you are up against an ex, it's a different process. Okay. Now, if you're not and you're up against an agency, then yes, it's going to be easier to undo things from that standpoint than it is when you're fighting your ex. Because why? The rules are different. It's like you got people out there in these communities that think they can actually challenge the jurisdiction of the court when their ex filed the case. They don't realize their ex gave the court jurisdiction, and because you two are adults and y'all can't seem to act like it, now the court has to come in and handle the dispute. Okay, that's what they're there for. There's a dispute, right? But now when it's an agency issue, now that's another story. That's where you can pull out a lot of stops on in rem actions. That's where you can pull out constructive fraud. There's all kinds of things that can be done. Yeah, CPS, oh, they're notorious. And be careful with a lot of these gurus out there saying they're promising you how to handle CPS. Some of their information's good, but I ain't going to say all of it. They even fall prey to the false court citations and fall prey to the wrong things too, because they're not going behind the documents and reading things. But when CPS is involved, it's all contract law. You're just falling in the trap by your own words. And they know this. First thing you did when you went into court is you accepted the name. You didn't look at the judge and said, wait a minute, DSS needs to prove that they have a legal obligation to my offspring. What are they going to bring up? They're going to probably bring up the birth certificate. Your Honor, that's double hearsay. They got to prove they have firsthand knowledge. That's my offspring. And I've got a court case that says the birth certificate is double hearsay. I don't care if the mother works for the president. The rules are still there. Well, JD, being that your mother works for CPS, you probably test a lot of this stuff out with her, don't you? And by the way, there's a reason why none of the paperwork for CPS or DSS ever calls you mother or father. It always says one of four things: custodian, guardian, parental custodian, or parental guardian. I had a lady down in Texas I was talking to at a tax office. Her day job was a CPS agent. And I was breaking all this down not knowing she worked for CPS. And then when she told me she did, I said, have you ever questioned why it says one of these four things? She said, oh my God, you're right. It does. I said, because why? They're not after the offspring. They're after the trust. How, yeah, they securitize the court cases, the accounts, and that's how they create currency. I posted a video series on my page. What kind of series? No, I don't. Um, no, I actually use a different one. No, I don't have that one actually. I don't think my buddy Papa has it. Um, he has it on his channel about if you're talking about that CPA guy that explains it, but I would have to see the series you're actually talking about. Shoot, hey, JD, I talked to a postmaster one day. She was a long time postal worker. Oh, you can reopen a case for new evidence. It's real easy. We got to talking about some of this stuff, and she was When I mentioned about the U.S. Treasury down in Puerto Rico, she knew about it. She said, "Yeah, up until Trump took office, we could file our own bonds to fund us at the U.S. Treasury in Puerto Rico, but since Trump took office, we can't." And she said she didn't understand why. She knew about it. See, a lot of people don't know there's two U.S. Treasuries, one in D.C., one in Puerto Rico. Again, how do you reopen a family court case? New evidence. And new evidence can be found everywhere. I don't really care. That's my thoughts, because why? The United States is a foreign jurisdiction to the 50 states, right? I mean, why do I care what they do in their jurisdiction? Because the way I look at things is like this: if your vote mattered, they wouldn't let you do it. Where do you need to come to my Telegram group? I'm you're probably on, you might occasionally see me on here doing a live more than once a week, but not often. You're going to see me more on Telegram doing lives. And trust me, we talk about this all the time. Go to my link tree; it's in my bio. You can go follow. You can go to my YouTube channel. I recommend both Rumble and YouTube. Why? There are certain videos on Rumble that are not on YouTube, and y'all should already know why that is. I've already I've had 3 videos removed from YouTube. They're on Rumble. But most of everything is on both channels. There's only a few that are not. Hey, I'm tired of the fraud too. I'm tired of the bad gurus, tired of the bad teachings, tired of the people promising you a gold and taking advantage of people. Now, does that mean I'm against people charging for their time? No. But honestly, think about it. If the average family can't afford a $500 class, why are you going to charge $500? If the average family, I mean, look at some of these gurus. Pay me 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, $5,000. Why are you going to do that? You ain't trying to help the people. You're trying to help your wallet. That's the bottom line. Me, do I charge? Yeah. Right now, my primary classes is a membership. It's 125 a month. I do a workshop every the first and third Saturday of the month, and every the alternate Saturdays we're on Telegram, and everything gets recorded in the membership group and in Google Drive. I mean, to me, $125 is worth it. That means I can park my truck and devote my time to you. Well, I appreciate it, John G. I try to be straight and honest with people, and I don't try to say anything that out of speculation. I actually will say, hey, here's where I get it from. Um, Solo, if you go to my bio on here, okay, there's a link. It's called a link tree. Click on that. $1,500 a year. What's that mean? Oh, you're talking about $125 a month? Is that why? Yeah, but guess what? You're getting my time 16 to 20 hours a month. And on top of that, the membership, you get 3 hours a month of private phone consultation. That's all included. Who else is doing that? I teach you how to navigate it and how to find things. My day job is, well, technically it's not daytime. My normal job is I'm a truck driver. And look, I started this process like most of y'all. I had a issue with a state, and it turned into a 7-year court battle. Um, and then I did the GSA bonds, and it worked. They went away. So, but in that time, in my free time, I was reading, I was learning. I didn't do what gurus say. Wait, you're not the only one that says that. Yeah, that's. I've had plenty of people after going through her stuff come to me um, and tell me how much it's a waste of time. So it's not a surprise you said that. Trust me, people don't say that about me. And I don't want you to take my word for nothing. If you get into my Telegram group, there are people in there that can give you their firsthand knowledge of their experience. Do I think a mortgage is a fraud? No, I don't. I don't think it's a fraud. I think it's the misunderstanding of the people of what's going on that's the problem. Because like I said, if you understood banking, you would know how to defend it. You would know how to do things. Well, it's no surprise she has an attitude. Don't mention my name around her. She won't. She'll scoff at you, and if you push the issue too much, she'll block you from her groups. She blocked me on TikTok because I asked one question. Don't ask me what that question was. It was almost 2 years ago. I asked her one question on a video, and she blocked me. She didn't even have the respect to answer the question. Well, Megan, I understand. It's all right. It's got to be something with your phone or something because everybody else is able to do it. Go if you hit apply, if you go to the main page and hit join, the main page is called Boslikos Nomos. That's it. Okay. You join that. Um, if you type an at symbol, if you're able to comment on one of the posts. If you're not, don't worry about it. Give me time. Also, once I end this live, then I'll be going over to Telegram for a few minutes before I go to bed to accept everybody. Might have to go into the settings to get you unbanned. One of the bots probably banned you. Okay? You will get approved by an admin. Just keep trying. Don't worry about it. One, send me a private message on here telling me what your ID is on Telegram. That way, if you did get banned, I can go fix it. Let's see. Am I where I'm planning on stopping? Now, don't put your trust in all those files that's in the files section because other people are in that group sharing stuff from other groups. Okay. If I share something, like if you hold your finger on the document, it says show in the chat, and I shared it, you can pretty much trust it. If I tell you what to go look for, you can pretty much trust it. But yeah, I got tired of the bad gurus. I mean, I've went through them all. I've went through the Anna von Reeds, David Straight, all these people out there that say that are telling just enough truth, because when you're new at this and then you look up what few things they say, or they show you some documents on a screen, and it sounds really nice, because remember, Jesus, after his 40 days of fasting, he was tempted by the devil. The devil told just enough truth to sound good. But does that mean it was true? Um, I would have to know more about that. What are you talking about? You're a housing voucher? I don't know what that is. Yes, it does grow, because honestly, this is a spiritual journey. This really, really is. And you've got to realize that. See, the Bible talks about how the law is a schoolmaster, okay? Well, and it's a schoolmaster to teach you of your sins, right? And all the government is doing is slapping you around saying, hey, you're sinning. Don't do that again. But guess what? People keep doing it over and over and over. And then the next thing you know, they're blaming the government. They're saying, wait a minute, the government's corrupt. The government's this. The government's that. No, the problem is you don't understand the system. Look how many people talk about how the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. It's the most important document we have. But nobody has ever went and got 99.9% of the people. The government publishes a book called the United States Constitution with analysis and interpretation to tell you how it applies, who it applies to, everything, and nobody reads it. Now, I understand it's a big book, it's 2,900 pages. You don't have to read the whole thing, you just got to read the pertinent parts. But some of us out there has actually took the time to learn that, like me, like Boris, like some of us in the group, because why? They have to tell you how it works. They have to tell you everything. Oh, that one I was specifically talking about, Shauna, at that time was the United States Constitution with analysis and interpretation. But which book in my file section would I recommend reading? That depends on the situation at the time. But if you ain't got anything really going on at the moment, I would recommend look up Gilbert's Law Summary on Agency, Partnerships, and LLCs. That's where I start people out at. I say you got to learn the basics. Now, that is going to be a basic book. That is not going to be as detailed as my class. But I don't turn anyone away that whether they pay or not. I still make it so you can learn. Now, and everybody listen, if you're interested in the class, starting October, we'll be doing the law of contracts, because September is when we're finishing up the law of agency. So the next two classes in September will finish the law of agency, and then we're going to start the law of contracts. And that's going to be a lengthy class, because contracts are so expansive. And what most people understand about contracts is really nothing. You hear people talk about it all the time. It'll be the first Saturday of the month. It's first and third Saturday. Yeah, now solo. I just got your message. I just saw the notification. Um, LLCs, I'm not against them when they're used right, but a standalone LLC, no. Why? If you do a solo, I got your message. If you do a standalone LLC, it's considered a disregarded entity, and they treat it like you're a sole prop. Well, you don't want to do that. Now, after law of contracts, we'll be doing the law of trusts. And by then, you will start acquiring the knowledge on how to do things and recognize things. So when you start learning trust law, you'll be saying, oh, now I understand why this is the way it is. And you'll be able to start managing a trust properly. I've got a book in my possession that has all the forms you need for an irrevocable trust with the proper agencies to become a certified trustee. The only reason I don't put it out in the public is because not everybody's ready for that. Because if you're going to play with the big boys, you need to learn the rules. Because if you, yeah, they're recorded. They're all on Google Drive. If you become a member, you get access to all the workshops. You don't get access to every single class, but the ones I'm talking about right now, the law of agency, the law of contracts, law of trust, law of equity, as we go through this stuff, you'll get access to that. Yes. Well, you have a foreign express trust, but still, that doesn't mean anything. Okay. How did you get your 98 number? Did you do it right? If you even got a 98 number. I mean, a lot of people out there, they teach, oh, go get your 98 number. The 98 number doesn't mean a darn thing. What matters is how you manage it. I don't have a 98 number on my trust. I have an 84 number, and guess what? I don't have no problems. Yeah, you got yours in Philadelphia, but that doesn't mean you set it up right. Most There are some gurus that will tell you to get your 98 number, just go to some country, go find a house that's for sale, and use that address. Wrong. See, I actually explain to people how to set everything up and how to structure everything so you are in the private and you have legal fictions doing all the other stuff. Yeah, but do you have a registered agent outside the United States and using that address? Because if you don't, you didn't set up your 98 number right. There ain't no such thing as a state national. That's all hogwash. But now if you have a tribunal and that tribunal is recognized as a sovereign territory, then yeah, you can do it that way. Yeah, that right there is a good place to start if you want to learn about the law of agency. And if you have an LLC, you might want to read that section. It will kind of surprise you on what all you can do with an LLC. An LLC is actually a quasi trust. They use a lot of the same language. You can have a board of directors just like you can have a board of trustees. You can do distributions on a trust just like you can do distributions on an LLC. An LLC is just basically a quasi trust.
In 1 3/4 miles, take exit 34 on the right to West Virginia 36 North. then take the first left.
But the reason I point people to the law of agency is why? You have that Social Security trust. That's why I'm like, you don't have to set up a trust. You've already got one. You just don't know your relationship to it. It already has trustees. You're not the beneficiary. You were not the grantor. So what are you? The only thing left is you're the agent. Oh, it's a lot better when we do lives on a Telegram because you've got people involved. And the problem is you got to have 1,000 followers on here to go live. So sometimes my lives won't be this late. They'll be closer in the evenings, like in the afternoons or early evenings, where a lot of the people that I respect will be jumping on, and you'll be able to we'll be able to have conversations about all this stuff a lot better.
Take exit 34 on the right to West Virginia 36 North, then take the first left.
And anyway, you're welcome. It's my honor to share. I mean, somebody out there has got to give y'all better information.
Stop sign, then take the second left.
Because a lot of them out there are not doing it. Oh, Megan, it's all right. Look, I know people struggle trying to get in, and it's not no problem. What's the truth? That's another problem in our society. People have forgotten what truth is. Actually, the better question is, what is a fact? The government, the courts don't care about truth. They care about facts. Facts are what you can prove.
79 south.
And the problem is, a lot of people make a lot of claims. I'll give you an example. You know these communities around that out there that talk about write an affidavit. Like if you put a bunch of claims on paper and call it an affidavit, that that makes it an affidavit, and then they get mad when the courts ignore it. They're like, but they ignored my affidavit. No, if you read enough case law, you will find out there's this phrase called mere allegations, especially when it comes to pro se litigants. See, pro se litigants don't know how, not that I would use the word pro se, but you're familiar with the term. Pro se litigants don't know how to do affidavits. They will write a bunch of claims on paper, but they have no supporting facts. See, I did a FOIA request April of 2022 to the government, and I said, "Hey, show me any documentation that shows I am a U.S. citizen." They come back and said, "We don't have any." So if I write an affidavit that says I am not a U.S. citizen, see Exhibit A. That's how you write an affidavit, and you put your evidence as the exhibits. Bond paper, that's a bunch of mumbo jumbo out there that people say, oh, if you put it on bond paper, it makes it special. Well, I think a short bus makes you special too, but I've got a short truck. I don't think they're necessary. Now, Anna Von Reitz and David Strait, I do question whether they are agents because why? They have such a mass following. And But for most of the gurus, no. No, I don't have a Ford. I have a 2016 International Pro Star. I pull a semi truck. I got a 53-foot refrigerated trailer behind me. So, no, most of these gurus are not sent. Most of these gurus are allowed to do the things they do because why? As long as they keep pushing the wrong information, you never find out the truth. You never find out how to become competent and reach age of majority. Age of majority is not about an age. It has to do with competency. Are you competent? Most people are not. So, and they don't even realize it. That's the problem. I didn't realize it. I've said and done a lot of the same things all of y'all are talking about.